It looks like we got a couple of these at least headed our way today and yet even tomorrow. But there may be some rain coming up in the forecast again as well. We'll keep you updated on that so you are up to speed as that comes through. But speaking of which, there are other stories that you're going to want to be in the know on. We've got those lined up for you. We've got a conversation coming up with Joe Moss, who's running for state rep here in Melrose as well.
And traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. You'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you, whether you want to buy or refi, home equity, line of credit. They've helped us do all three. We've saved thousands each and every time. And so many other people that listen to this program as well. They're faster. They're better than the big banks. And I can't tell you enough. It could save you lots of dough. And as you know, this day and age, that is it's no small matter. We're going to take every bit we can get. And thanks to Dave and the team at Heartland Home Mortgage today.
Number one.
Yeah, we got elections to catch up with last night. We've got Hellfire missiles striking tankers in Iran. We'll start there. Another Hellfire missile taking aim and striking the engine room of a tanker. Sitcom putting this report out. I think this was sometime yesterday afternoon. And the story, again, as they try to get to a deal and get everything done, this tanker was headed to Iran's Karg Island. U.S. said no. They've disabled it, enforcing that naval blockade, and the strike on the Botswana-flagged MT Lexi, or I believe is what it was called, followed ignored warnings, preventing it from reaching Iranian ports and ongoing transmission. So you got another one of those struck in a scenario they call defensive maneuvers. And that leads us to Election Day. The results are in, at least not all the way, but partially in California. The People's Republic of which June 2nd primary, the incumbent Mayor Bass in L.A. will advance to the November runoff. She'll be met there because neither of the 20, some odd candidates that were in this race actually met that. I think it's a 50%. They have to reach some sort of 50% threshold in order to win outright. That's just not what happens. So, in other words, this will move forward. And right now, although, this is a little bit of a monkey wrench in this, and I'll explain why here in a second. But it looks like Spencer Pratt will be joining her in November. He's excited for that. And again, another, I think he says here, 6 months for him to get out there and talk about what he's been telling tonight.
Well, obviously God wanted 5 more months of me exposing all the failures of our mayor. So it's going to be a fun ride. I hope she's ready.
Are you ready?
I mean, I was born for this, clearly.
Got a kind of funny way he's taking a look at it. I do like by the way, we've got more on this coming up in a little bit. I like how the guys handled the whole thing.
Number 3.
Yeah, we got more on this coming up in just a moment as well. Of course, this story continuing to develop. Why is it going to take time to get the full results? That's the little hitch in the giddy up we got to tell you about. As well as the latest in the California governor race as well. It all plays into the same place. And somehow it leads us back to Detroit and the pizza boxes on the windows as they're counting votes. Yeah, it's eerily familiar anyway. Hey, last night, CBS 60 Minutes fired Scott Pelley. It's an interesting story. And if you haven't been paying attention, by the way, here's the note that they were, and it was really kind of strongly worded. Nick Bilton, the executive producer, with this statement last night in a terse letter to Scott Pelley. He cited Pelley's antipathy to the future of the show after he publicly criticized leadership and accused them of murdering the program during a staff meeting. It's interesting because at CBS, they're trying to right the ship. They're trying to bring it back a little bit more fair and balanced, although it remains to be seen whether or not they'll actually be able to do that or not. They're not going to play. They're just not going to let them get away with playing by the old rules. I can tell you that much. And Pelley wanted out, so now he is. Good riddance. That's all I can say to that. Good riddance. Bilton saying your antipathy to the future of the show has come through loud and clear, and I have heard you. Therefore, I write on behalf of CBS News, Inc., to inform you that your employment with CBS is terminated for cause, effective immediately. Enclosed is your formal termination letter. He wanted that anyway. He didn't want to be there anymore. He wanted to make a stink on his way out. And now he'll make the circuit talking to people, getting paid money, and, calling these other programs. Probably end up on a CNN or someplace like that at the end of the day, somewhere else. Anyway, it's just part of the insanity. We'll just put it that way as folks, again, move forward to checking the latest on the scenarios there on the Okay. If you want to get into it, we can get into that too. We'll talk more about where the media landscape is turning and why I think you're seeing happen what you're seeing happen with Spencer Pratt, particularly in LA. I mean, we're watching right now. This is a revolution unfolding, and one that happens online and at the ballot box. However, this is the quiet part out loud. This is why we may not have answers. And in fact, things may not turn out as rosy as they even look right now. It's because the People's Republic of California has been, they've been completely captured, and for decades now. NBC last night saying the quiet part out loud. So as we speak, it appears Spencer Pratt will be involved in the runoff in November as we speak. And it also looks like in the governor's race that the top spot, the man who got the most votes, this is going to make your head spin. The man who got the most votes is a Republican in California. But wait, here's what I mean by that. This NBC saying the quiet part out loud.
It is this. How many total votes have been cast? Look, over 1 million for Hilton, over 1 million for Becerra. That's over 2 million. You know, you're looking at nearly about 4 million votes right now with not quite half the vote in, meaning there are still 4 million votes to be counted in California. And a very significant chunk of those are going to be late arriving vote by mail that are going to be tabulated, you know, maybe tomorrow, maybe in the coming days, maybe over the next week, whatever exactly it is. But that size of a pool, okay, we're talking millions of votes right here. When you see the advantage right now that Hilton has over Steyer, not Becerra, that Hilton has over Steyer, okay, you're talking about a 300,000 vote advantage, okay, 7 points. But in a pool of millions of votes, late arriving vote by mail, if it's dramatically more Democratic, which we've seen in the past, 300,000 votes is something that Steyer could overcome. Yeah. And he could potentially pass Hilton. That would mean Becerra and Steyer would pass Hilton here because it would just be overwhelmingly Democratic vote. It would benefit both of them, and that Republican share of that share for Hilton would just tick down.
So you hear what they're saying, and by the way, this is the problem in California. This is the issue, and I even see people talking about the SAVE Act. We got to get the SAVE Act passed, and yeah, I'd love to get the SAVE Act passed. That would be wonderful. However, and maybe this is the biggest. We haven't have we done enough really to address all these things? We still got 2020 kind of floating out. I know they're doing some investigating. I know there's been some talk about this, but in places like Deep Blue California, maybe even Michigan, I hate to say it, but you have to overwhelm the system with so much. It has to be too big to rig. But the SAVE Act, I don't think would save California, because we're talking about largely state and then city elections. I think SAVE Act, I could be wrong. You still have to go back and refresh. Somebody could correct me on this. But SAVE Act is, I believe, only federal elections. So when you're looking into the the presidential election, things like that, that's what we're looking at. However, there is also some good now. Now, if they're cheating, are they going to be able to cheat enough? That's part of it. Last night, Fox News reported this: young voters in Beverly Hills, along with other places in the People's Republic of California, are swinging Republican, in fact.
That's what we do know. LA voter registration numbers are only moving in one direction, and it isn't towards Democrats. GOP registration's up 14% since 2022. Dems, less than 0.5%. Even Beverly Hills, the young voters who were supposed to be a lock, they're swinging to Republicans by double digits. Pratt's slashing message has landed everywhere, even in Hollywood. Half the city's ash, the other half's naked in the street.
No, that's true. That's true, too. And unfortunately, that's why they're so upset and I don't blame them, in L.A. and in the People's Republic of California. Here's a CNN reporter stunned in a live interview yesterday. This was yesterday. As a Democrat, you're voting for who? He asked this man. which is funny, because it's I think what we're seeing in California has finally transcended like the sort of partisan politics and you needed something to break through and to pull people out. This might have been it, and you'll see why.
As a Democrat, are voting for Spencer Pratt.
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
I do like his approach for the homelessness. As a person who used to be homeless myself, I was rendered the services that he's talking about. I was able to change my life, 10 years sober with no alcohol and stuff like that. So his approach is really good. I do think it's fair for him to go off with the runoff with Karen Bass. Yeah. This way, both of them can go ahead and prove to me why they deserve my vote. So as of today, I'm doing it, yes, because I do like his approach, and I do think he deserves a fair chance. Yeah. But come November, it could be different.
Okay, it's been really interesting how many people are animated one way or another.
To me, they said, "Oh, it's been really interesting." I bet it has, sir. I bet it has. To me, you watch this, and you have to understand. So first and foremost, the race for mayor in LA is not a partisan race. So it's not Republican, Democrat. It's not, but very similar to what Grand Rapids does here. There's no political affiliation, so you have that. Number one as a plus. But number two, it doesn't matter who you are. We're at a point now, and Spencer said this on a couple of podcasts. I think he said it on Bill Maher, where they're talking about issues that Democrats might find more appealing. He says, "Look, we gotta stop the bleeding first. I want the drugs and I want the homeless situation cleared up off the streets first. Then we could talk about all these other things." So they're in this massive sort of like triage moment in those places, and that's why you're seeing all this crossover. Plus, I'll tell you what the next piece is, and they've already been doing it, but this is the game plan moving into November if he does survive, and it's the one thing I'm sure he's counting on. In fact, it might be the one thing that pushes him over the edge, because it always backfires on them anyway. I'll lay that out, because there's a warning in all of this. There's an instinct that some politicos are going to have, especially as things heat up here nationally and on the world stages. We get closer to November, and I'll lay that out. Coming up next, we'll give you a chance to join in the program as well at any moment in time. 616-774-2424. Back after this, it's West Michigan Live on Wood Radio.
Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, June 3rd. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Jocelyn Benson claims she has no clue how the Southern Poverty Law Center operated while she served on the board. She claims my role was mostly ceremonial. In other news, House Republicans questioning RX Kids founder Dr. Mona Hanna during a Tuesday House Oversight Committee hearing. Republicans raising concerns about taxpayer accountability, program oversight, payments to illegal aliens, and the role of outside advocacy groups in the state's growing cash assistance program. And after the assassination attempt on President Trump forced the White House Correspondents Association to cancel its annual dinner at the Washington Hilton Hotel in D.C. back on April 25th, the event has now been rescheduled for July 24th. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Shh, here she comes.
All right, welcome in, folks. The behind-the-scenes live stream, full speed ahead, and you're watching, whether you're watching Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Get Our Locals, YouTube, you name it. We got all these different platforms and ways to watch. We appreciate you being here. We got a little bit of a technical issue earlier this morning. Looks like that has been fixed. We're still working on fixing the glitch. If you ever see a glitch or a glitching where I look like Max Headroom, I think somebody said the other day, let me know. We're trying to work on that. I don't know if we've got that settled yet or not, but that is what we're trying to do, and one of those things caused an issue behind the scenes. So that's all, I think, set up and taken care of now. As we can say good morning, the Gritter, the only one on Locals. He's a true Freedom Fam VIP. He'll tell you, I know his dedication is unmatched. Thank you, Gritter, and thank you, Joe, and thank you to Panda. Let's see. I know I'm going to miss somebody. Said Karen, Terry, good to see you as well. Hemi's in the house today. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Just drop your name in again, and I'll catch you yet again. Over on Rumble, the Rumblers hanging out. History Diggers, Jen Lynn, Such a Time as This, Tree Frog, Tim, Dean, good to see you. All of the folks hanging out over on the book as well. Sherry, Jessica, Bunny, Joanne, Charlene, Mary. Sean, good morning. Hey, Maha Missy coming up today, about 10:15 with the latest update. Hang on for that big one. You're not going to want to miss it.
Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Boom. All right, so the biggest issue, and I'm seeing this right now, they've been all they could do. L.A. Mayor, by the way, can you imagine how screwed up it's got to be, or you have to be, to continue to vote for this woman who was out of the country when the fires broke out in L.A.? I mean, and it made L.A. a complete, just absolute war zone out there. But she is moving on. She survived, which is just mind-boggling in itself. But the whole move for her and everyone else has been to talk about Spencer Pratt like he's MAGA, like that's a bad thing. But what we hear her saying, and maybe you can find a clip of this a little bit later on, is she's saying, well, he's a reality TV star. He's a reality TV star. We've seen how well that's worked for us. We've seen how well you've worked for the people of LA, and it's been horrible. Anyway, that shows you that's all they have. That's the attack. He's Trump. He's MAGA. He's a reality TV star. He's got no experience. That's what they'll say. Well, with the experience that she has, I don't want anyone matching that type of experience. Experience tanking a city like that? He's got truth, logic, and common sense on his side. And imagine that. Just somebody willing to stand up and say, look, enough is enough here, okay? We're done with all of this. So here's what I'll warn, because moving into this year, you get a lot of people that will want to distance themselves from Trump, and maybe even policy-wise. I mean, one thing to distance yourself from his name, but it's another to distance yourself from the policies. The policies, over and over and over, it's truth, logic, and common sense, are the thing that resonate. And this is the biggest piece, the piece that I think people are going to miss the most, especially the talking heads, the pundits and the consultant class, etc. is that this was never about Trump. None of this was ever about Trump. It was always about the people, and the movement was bigger than the man. Well, the man is absolutely gigantic. It does not match the movement. The people are fed up. He was the outlet for it and still is. And if any of these candidates in 26 and beyond focus on that movement, if they focus on making those differences, making life better for Americans and so many others in these states and in these cities where they feel oppressed or where they had enough is enough, that is what brings victory in 2026.
Your news from a trusted source. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.
All right, hang on, folks. Bottom of the hour. Let's take a break for the news. We got. Let me move that. Hang on. Oh, that's copy. We'll get rid of that. Okay. Got market opening coming up too. So we'll have the latest there. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Joe Moss running for state rep in Ottawa County. You know Joe. Part of Ottawa Impact. He'll be on the program in just a moment to talk about his race and some shenanigans that are happening there, which I think is kind of fascinating in itself. Hang on. Let's see. You got any more updates real quick from the news?
Dave Wheaton, this is Wood Radio News. Iran has launched strikes on both Kuwait and Bahrain, leaving multiple people injured and at least one person dead. Fox's Trey Yingst, he's in Tel Aviv. He has the latest.
CENTCOM released a statement saying that an additional wave of Iranian drones attempting to attack U.S. forces in Kuwait failed to impact intended targets.
All right. I'm going to show you a blatant example of just outright propaganda and baloney. I still check it. Look, I will check Drudge Report here and there. You have to see through their headlines because that's how they sway. But this is the most ridiculous headline I think I've ever seen. And it's a Drudge headline based on an article. Financial Times, I think Bloomberg is put. They're going to try and tell you that the risk of nukes in Iran is higher now than before the war. I mean, they can't even. The only thing they have left is firing off these missiles here and there to try and hit different targets and different bases. They're trying to. It's like a child throwing a tantrum. The second piece is through some sort of terrorist-like control of, these IRGC warlords or people that are going out in these boats trying to disrupt traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, et cetera, at some point. That's why you see these negotiations revolving around that. They've already agreed to give up the nukes. Who writes this saying the risk of nukes is higher than ever before? Yesterday, on Capitol Hill, we had Senator Marco Rubio, who now he's Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as well as the other hats that he's wearing. But it's funny because you don't want to go against Marco Rubio. He's sort of a trained assassin. I think J.D. Vance has done well with this as well. I think J.D. Vance has been fantastic. But I want to tell you, I don't know, man. I don't think anybody does it. as well and lays things out effectively, as eloquently as Rubio does. I just think he does a great job. In fact, he did it here against Senator Rose.
You were at a party with President Trump in Miami instead of accompanying Vice President Vance to Pakistan for negotiations.
What party was I at?
Secretary Rubio.
You're 100% inaccurate and 100% wrong. Here's why. Number one, the Vice President of the United States was there, and he wasn't confirmed by the Senate. He was elected by the American people. Okay? He is the second in line of the presidency of the United States. He was present. Mr. Witkoff is the president's envoy for negotiation for peace deals. Mr. Kushner is a private citizen that serves as an advisor on these functions. They were the team that we sent to Pakistan. I was not at a party. Where I was is next to the president. Because in the midst of those negotiations, I was in communications with them. And in fact, I think there is media reporting from that evening on how on multiple occasions I went into a back room, I came back out and spoke to the president and was constantly updating him. On that evening, I spoke to Mr. Kushner and our negotiating team and Mr. Witkoff on at least 6 occasions, including twice on a secure line from the phone they had access to over there. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
Senator
making
Rose,
stuff up.
he has the floor.
I know your staff wrote up this cute statement for your TikTok video, but it's not true and it's not real.
That's so good. That's exactly what happened. Because you know, it's funny. Like these people, congressmen, women, senators, they have no idea. They don't really know. Many of them, A, what they're talking about, and B, what they're saying. They have just no clue. They have no real. They have no real. Tell him we had technical issue. Just we'll have to do phone. I know what happened. Yeah. They have no real grasp on reality. Let me put it that way. It's probably the best way to put it. No real grasp on reality, on what's really going on. Anyway, there's more of it. I've got a whole slew of this stuff that I want to get to, and I will coming up here in just a little bit. So stand by for that. Joe Moss joins us in probably like 45 seconds here. Stand by. We're going to back on the air momentarily. Okay. Rocking and rolling, folks. Full speed ahead on the fastest hour in radio. Hey, if you haven't done it yet, click share today. Help us get the word out. Cut through the noise with truth, logic, and common sense. We're working on them right now, and they're coming together really well. In fact, I might let some of the Freedom Fam VIP members take a look and give me some guidance. We got the America 250 shirts. Tonight, a fireside chat, if you're around, coming up at 8:30.
It's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
In the meantime, go ahead and click share where you're watching, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getters, and Locals, YouTube, you name it. We'd love to help you win something cool out of the store. Tee, hoodie, or more. Yeah, welcome in, folks, with another round of the fastest hour in radio, flying right by. We thank the good people at the Good Feet store for help making it happen each and every day. They power this program. In my life, I got to tell you, I never a dull moment, whether it's at work or play, keeping me on my toes with the latest stories here, the news of the day, or with my kids. The girls are growing faster each and every day, and they always want to play. Yesterday, we were playing hide and go seek, and I'm sneaking around on them. And then, when you go find them, you kind of have to act, oh, where are you? Where are you? You have to act like you don't know where they went, You kind of have to, you're going to have to live it up a little bit. Yeah. Are you over here? Are you under this thing? Where? Oh, gosh, I just don't know where they are. anyway, walking throughout the backyard looking for them. And the funny thing is whether it's at work or play, like I said, whether you need to feel better on the job, maybe you've dealt with it like me, foot, leg, back issues. There's no need for it anymore. Walk into the Good Feet store. Check out the personalized arch support system that they have. They're going to get you back on your feet, and in no time, as the weather warms up, you're going to want to be out doing the things that you've been putting off for a long time, whether it's because of all those issues I just mentioned or the weather just wasn't cooperating. Get back into it today. Comfort, confidence at the Good Feet store. 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's at the Good Feet store. As I said, full speed ahead, and things are heating up for 2026 as we see elections taking shape. We got primaries all throughout the country again last night. And, of course, in California, we've got the governor's race. We're watching that still. Spencer Pratt. We're watching that for the race in mayor of L.A. But things are heating up here back at home as well in Michigan. And I've said it before. Look, I know how important 2024 is. I would say 2026 is even more critical, particularly for the state of Michigan. There's so much at stake and on the line. And that's why I think there's going to be a little bit of a tendency for folks to want to sit it out or stay at home in between because, you get out and you vote during the presidential races. But like I said, we're picking a governor. We're picking an attorney general, a secretary of state. We got a chance to send another Republican to Washington, D.C. as a senator to help Trump get the job done. And we've got a chance to shore up our government and make sure we get back on the track in the state here in ways that I just don't think could be overstated. Joe Moss joins us right now. And he is running, a good friend of the program, running for the Michigan State House of Representatives. Hey, let us know your district again and where folks can find you online. Joe, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, Justin. Yeah, so House District 89 is Ottawa County, Muskegon County, and just a little tiny piece of Kent County. And it's Blendon Township, which is where I'm at, Allendale, and then there's a whole smattering of other townships: Chester, Polkton, Talmadge, Wright, City of Coopersville, and in Muskegon, it's Gasnovia, Eggleston, Fruitport, Moreland, Ravenna, Sullivan. So it's a big district. It's an amazing district.
When you're making your rounds out there, as everything cut up as it is, what are the things that you're hearing from people mostly right now?
Well, it's really interesting. Typically, when I knock doors, about half the time people open the door and they say, "Oh, hey, Joe," which is pretty fun. But we start talking about issues pretty quick, and probably one of the number one issues that I hear is always related to gas prices and the economy. So asking what's the latest. And it quickly pivots to who's running for governor. That's a common one. And probably the other really big topic of conversation is something along the lines of the woke agenda. So DEI, what can be done to stop it, things like that.
Yeah. And there's so much obviously happening in your backyard and in our backyard right now. I think these things are critical.
I agree. Last night, the Ottawa County Republican Party had an endorsement convention, and they brought in James David Dixon, and his slogan is "Make politics local again." And he talked about the importance of being engaged, but he also said something similar to what you just said a minute ago. He said 2026 is our last chance to save Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And after many years of having Democrat leadership in the state, if you can call it that, more like Democrat destruction, he said it's time for all hands on deck. So it was a very timely message.
Yeah, I absolutely, I couldn't agree more. James, a good friend, but the point of that, um, that I think people are missing is, look at. I just saw yesterday, Florida, they approved this getting rid of property taxes. Now it's going to go on the ballot down there, and to me, you're watching states who are competing right now, as we've got dueling interests. President Trump is making the push right now to make things in America again, investment in manufacturing, things of that nature. And we see this. I don't think it could be more clear that we're missing out in Michigan. A lot of the reasons are because we've let things just fall too far down the wayside. But this is the last nearly 10 years of Democrat control here in this state. They've put us in a really awkward predicament, haven't they?
They have. Michigan is just about last in all the major stats, whether it's education outcomes or the number of people leaving the state. It is very sad. And we do need new leadership. We do need to drain the swamp, if you know what I mean. And another huge thing that I hear when I'm out talking to constituents or knocking on doors is about property taxes. I had one guy tell me, he just asked a question. He said, "What's my $7,000 doing for me?"
Mm.
And he was referencing his property tax bill. And so there is a significant level of distrust in the Michigan government, as it is led by the Democratic Party, and taxes just keep going up and up and up, and it's true. Homeowners need relief.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. These are sort of common sense. They'll call them kitchen table, conversations, but they're happening, and they're happening all over the place right now. And that's why it's so important, obviously, as people look into where we go from here and why these issues matter. Joe, you've seen some shenanigans again recently, and we've heard even some in California this morning. We talked about election signature shenanigans in Ralph Freeman's campaign again this year. But you're seeing some shenanigans happening on the trail of the primary. You want to talk about what's happening right now as you campaign there?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I mean, if you have a specific issue, I'd love to touch on it.
What's going on with the signs? I saw something posted online. There's somebody trying to convince people that they're aligned with you and they're running against you. So what's the story?
Yeah, that's been something that was very unforeseen. I have two opponents, one in the primary and one in the general. And the guy who's running against me in the primary is either stopping by or calling people who have my signs in their yard. And what the homeowners are telling us is that he's saying something like, "Oh, I saw your Joe Moss sign. Can I put one up too?" But it's causing some pretty significant confusion because it's not always clear he's my opponent. And so we have some very upset homeowners when they find out that he's not running for Senate or something, but he's running for the same office. So they take his sign down, and then he shows up and puts it back up, and then they take it down again, and then he puts it back up again, and then they take it down again. It's a little bit of primary election chaos.
That's so funny. Maybe he doesn't know that he's running against you.
Yeah, well, he did get up at the endorsement convention last night in Ottawa and talk about, we gotta work with the other side or something like that.
Oh my.
And it really goes to show that there's a fundamental misunderstanding there about the status of politics in Michigan.
Mm.
There has been a radical push by the left, and they have promoted everything in the woke agenda, from Green New Deal, energy mandates, to stripping local control from our, local townships.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, and I won't even go into DEI and everything else that has been implemented by the far left wing of the Democratic Party here in Michigan. And so when James or you or anybody else says, 2026 is important, it is.
Yeah.
We need a Republican governor. We need a Republican legislature. And then we need people who will go in and on day one, rock the boat and do something. And that's something that I know a lot about.
Joe Moss running for House Rep there in District 89. Hey, what's a good way for folks to connect with you online?
Best way is to go to joemoss.com, and you can either shoot me a text. My cell phone number is on there and all my literature. Happy to talk to people. I get quite a bit throughout the day, and it's really fun talking to constituents. And one interesting, side note is the number of young people who are engaged. I mean, it is really good to see the next generation getting involved in the direction of their country.
Yeah. I love that. I don't think there could be any better situation, a scenario to see people stepping up and getting involved, especially the young folks. We need more and more of that happening. Joe, always a pleasure to talk to you, man. You are you're out there getting it done. Please come back, let us know. And if we talk to your opponents, we'll ask them about those signs as well. We'll see if we get some answers.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll end with a quote from a guy from Grand Valley, one of the leaders of the college Republicans. I saw him a couple weeks ago at a Turning Point event, and he looked at me and he said, and he's talking about Grand Valley State University, the king of the woke over there. He said, Joe, we're taking this campus back.
Oh, that's great.
And he was so serious.
I love to hear that. Boy, we need more of that and that energy, that drive by those kids. And it is, courage is contagious. We've seen that over the last few years. I know you're no stranger to it.
It is.
Joe Moss, joemoss.com, District 89. God bless. Back with more after this, folks. They want to raise your rates again. Consumers Energy looking for more money out of your pocket. Sure, the data center thing has nothing to do with it. We got to get this out on the table. We'll talk about it, rip the Band-Aid out after this.
Where the truth isn't negotiable. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, June 3rd. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Fayette Township considers a 1,400-acre solar power plant residents strongly oppose. If approved, residents argue that solar panels would cover roughly 26% of the township's agricultural land. Jocelyn Benson claims she has no idea how the Southern Poverty Law Center operated while she served on its board, Benson claiming her role was mostly ceremonial. And House Republicans questioning RX Kids founder Dr. Mona Hanna during a Tuesday House Oversight Committee hearing. Republicans are raising concerns about taxpayer accountability, program oversight, payments to illegal aliens, and the role of outside groups in the state's growing cash assistance program. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
48 countries.
Only one winner.
Yes! iHeartRadio and Fox Sports are bringing you every match of FIFA World Cup.
All right, folks, got oil prices up and they're making the Dow fall this morning. We're going to get to that before we get out of here. But again, no surprise. It's kind of a bit of a roller coaster ride up and down. Consumers Energy looking for more money yet again. And it's another one of these cases. When is enough? And I told you, we see this over and over again. And I don't know. Of course, they're going to charge you more. And you have nobody to blame except for the Democrats who have led us right into this boat that we're in the first place. Why? You remember all the green news scam, the wind, solar, and unicorn farts that they've been pushing for years. And boy, they've been awfully quiet ever since about this climate stuff, right? Ever since, seriously, ever since they need data centers. They just, not a peep. Not a peep. Anyway, stand by, folks. That story and more coming up here in just a minute as we continue. I'll play this. I don't know if they use the actual word, but this is Trump on a podcast yesterday being asked about did he call Netanyahu? Did he say you're blanking crazy or not?
So who's making the decisions?
Well, they say he is giving approval because that's the way it has been for a long, long time. His father and then him, I guess it's a succession. But we seem to be getting along quite well.
Would you like to meet him or meet any of the Iranians in person?
I've never thought of it, actually. It's a very good question. I'll think of it. Yeah, I'd like to meet him. I like to meet everybody. I'd like to meet him. We probably will meet at some point, depending on how it all works out.
So who's making the decisions?
Well, they say he is giving approval because that's the way it has been for a long, long time. His father and then him, I guess it's a succession. But we seem to be getting along quite well.
Would you like to meet him or meet any of the Iranians in person?
Isn't that interesting that they say they're getting along quite well? Are they? Oil prices are up, as you saw today. They don't quite have this under wraps, and I don't know how long it's going to take. He says he can wait a little bit longer, and maybe squeezing them out a little bit. Anyway, I got more from that interview, and I've got this is an interesting moment. And the word he used to describe how he really felt about it all, I thought was really interesting. All right, hang on, folks. Back at it and on the air. Stand by in just moments.
All included. Reserve now at TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Oil is up on the uncertainty into the back and forth in Iran, like clockwork, and the markets are down. Dow's fallen about 200 points. The back and forth is something that we're no stranger to. Have been following this, and if you've been not living under a rock at all, you've probably been up to date. But this is the point. It's like you're on a roller coaster ride, the up and the down. And some people enjoy those rides. Others feel nauseous and hold on for dear life. You don't have to feel that way. The folks at guardingyournest.com, Mike Lester and the team at Talon Wealth, want to make sure that you are positioned, no matter whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. They want to make sure you get to where you want to go, when you want to get there, and they are willing to help you with the heart of a teacher to make sure that those things take place. Now, you'll want to go online to guardingyournest.com or call them at 616-661-1000 and do it today so you don't wait too late. All right, fastest hour on radio flying by. Consumers Energy. We'll do more on this tomorrow. Once another $456 million electric rate hike. They want more money. Didn't they just ask for one too? They're back at it again. Now, remember, just so you know, when they're talking about all of this, when they're going through it all, just so you remember where it all came from, it was all the green new scam, wind, solar, and unicorn farts that the Democrats in this state particularly, plus the Biden administration, had pushed over nearly the last 10 years.
How dare you?
And I haven't heard them talk much about it at all. The wind, solar, and unicorn fart. I haven't talked about the climate. We haven't heard any of that since they started pushing data centers. Isn't that interesting? All right. Must be a coincidence that they talk about. More in the after show, including the comments President Trump and why he wants to meet the supreme leader of Iran and more from an interview he did yesterday. We'll get into that. Coming up, don't go anywhere. You can stick with us, whether it's live or archived. Listen, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Locals, Getter, JustinBarkley.com, YouTube, or my favorite, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you download your podcasts. Make it a great day, folks. God bless. The Glenn Beck program's next.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOT Grand Rapids, WOOT FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Hi, I'm
Guaranteed
Congressman John
human.
Molinar. As the chairman of the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, I'm working in a bipartisan fashion to keep our country safe from the threats posed.
All right. Not another penny. Not another penny. Not another nickel. Not another dime. That's what I feel like saying to these people. Not another penny. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. What are we going to do, huh? Hey, let me get set up for the behind-the-scenes live stream, the show, after the show, and the after show. If you haven't done it yet, I'll just mention this again, but go ahead and click share right now. No matter where you're watching, I'll give you the opportunity to get in the running. We got some really cool stuff inside the Justin store. We got tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. And the America 250 gear will be here this week, just in time for Father's Day. So you'll be able to grab all kinds of great gear for dad and the grad. Both dads and grads. Anyway, that's a great way to do it. You can also support. I saw somebody, but I think bought one of those fool around, find out mugs yesterday. I thought that was cool. You don't have to buy one, but if you'd love to go in there and buy it, help support the program, that's always cool. You know, it's not like we make millions on that at all, but I just like getting the word out there. That's why we do the merch anyway. It's mostly to promote the show and what we're doing. Because if you wear a cool shirt somewhere, or you drink a coffee out of a mug someplace you brought, that's got people to ask you about it, and you go, oh, that's Justin. You can listen to this, or you can tune in here, or you can whatever. And it's a conversation starter. So anyway, that's why we do it. And we'll give you a chance to pick something out of that store coming up. Click share, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, and always appreciate. Why would Trump want to meet the Ayatollah? Hi, Jerry. That's a great question. Hang on. Let's dig into it coming up in a second. We got some Maha news we want to get to as well. Stand by. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barkley. Yeah, it's the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never a dull moment, never enough time to get to it all. We're going to do our best today to make sure you are updated and fully. Coming up, a Maha update. Lack of sleep is fueling a cancer surge in people under 50. That's wild. The new shot that's reshaping the brain, it's the fat shot. And, it's weird. COVID didn't hit this certain group very hard. And Dr. Peter McCullough is weighing in on this and why. Plus, why Trump and Maha is watching what you wear. Not just what you eat. We'll talk about those things. And music that may be the cure for it all. Very cool. Lots of great conversation pieces as Maha Missy joins us coming up in just moments as well. But Trump in the latest, we got great video from Marco Rubio yesterday too. We get into all that coming up in just a moment. Marco Rubio on Capitol Hill. Absolutely having his way with some of those senators. Just craziness there on full display. Speaking of Father's Day, though, Mike Lindell's got a great sale happening right now at mypillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin. All kinds of great goodies. We got the sheets, the premium MyPillow is just $19.98. That's incredible. Robes, all kinds of good stuff and more. If you want it, made in America. You know what else Dad would like? That my coffee. Mike Lindell's coffee is something else. Get it. Get you a bag. 50% off right now. Along with those mattresses, they still sneakily have a bit of a mattress sale happening right now, but you're going to want to go to mypillow.com, mystore.com/Justin, and get loaded up and get ready to go. If you haven't done it yet, I highly suggest that you do it now. All right, so back to Trump. He did this interview in Podforce One, I believe is what it's called. Miranda Devine at Podforce One. I think that's a New York Post production, so they're friendly. Anyway, he said that he wanted to meet, maybe he would meet the Ayatollah, which I thought was funny. Terry mentioned that in the chat. Why would he want to meet him? I think a lot of what we're seeing play out right now, including the story about what he had to say with Netanyahu the other day, I think what we're watching is a lot of this is I don't want to say propaganda, but they're doing it on purpose. The disinformation, it's not necessarily disinformation, but it's a campaign, an information warfare camp, not necessarily aimed at us. Some of it may be, but I think most of it's aimed at Iran and maybe even some at Israel. I don't know. But I watch this play out, and I feel like, as I see it, there's so many interesting things that we've watched over the last weeks, months of this whole thing as it's playing out. That I think we're seeing something that we've never seen to this extent before.
Which you were angry with him. You said, "Are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing?"
Watch his response, because she's talking specifically right now about this story where Trump said, he called Netanyahu out. Watch his response and the look on his face. Just tell you.
I helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed.
I did. He looked down, thinking about it, and then I said, I think he's confirmed he said this.
His constantly fighting with Lebanon. At some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. But I have a very good relationship. We've done well together. He always says we could never have done it, but everybody knows that we could have never done it without the United States. But I've worked very well together. I like Bibi a lot, and I've worked very well with him. We had I'm a wartime president. He's a wartime prime minister. Very important part of the world, and I think we've done very well. We've gotten along very well together.
Gotten along very well together. That's a very similar quote to what he said about the Ayatollah, which I think is kind of fascinating as well. He talks, when he's trying to get these deals done, you got to remember, he just talks in very glowing terms. And even if people that are sitting across the table from him that aren't, they're not really necessarily, what's the best way to put it? He wants a deal, and I think he wants a deal that would absolutely bring these people into some sort of normalized relationship, that country, and the people of that country specifically. But again, some of those folks, the RGC particularly, they want death to America. So I don't know how you square that up. I don't know how you do that. But only time will tell. And one of all these podcasters who have been just absolutely giving them the business over all this, what do they say about it? It should be interesting. Fired from CBS. Scott Pelley got his walking papers.
According to a source in the room, Scott Pelley said that editor-in-chief Barry Weiss was brought in to kill 60 Minutes and is doing exactly that.
I saw a story yesterday, by the way, and I didn't do this, but I saw that story because we just didn't have time about who they wanted to bring to 60 Minutes. And this is kind of an interesting idea if you think about it. I don't know what the boomers will think. Who knows? I'll tell you who that is here in a second.
Pelley also blasted the show's new EP, executive producer, telling Nick Bilton he thinks he has slender qualifications for the job. Pelley and reps for CBS did not immediately return our request for comment, but that's as a bunch of network's journalists wrote a letter to Paramount's CEO today, urging him to send a clear message to staff, viewers, and the public that David Ellison respects editorial independence and press freedom.
In this meeting, he allegedly said that Barry Weiss, who is the CBS News editor-in-chief, was, quote, murdering the venerable news magazine. And in this, he, allegedly, Pelley interrupted and said, she is murdering 60 Minutes. She does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it, and she has been doing exactly that. Barry Weiss was not in the room, Hallie, but NBC News, we've reached out to CBS for comment as well.
I just, nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares about the dinosaurs. They just don't. And I don't mean boomers as in an age group. When I say it's more of a mentality. Nobody cares about these, these old institutions that are just losing money. It's the same thing with who they just can't. And by the way, they did I think it was a massive swing in how much profit by just canning what's his name, Colbert. They canned him the other day, and he did his last show, and they did this big thing. Oh, we're gonna miss you. This whole late nighters doing it together. The point is, does anybody even live that way anymore? Do you stay up and watch the local news at night? I don't. I do this for a living, and I don't do that. And then you would stay up and you would watch the late night show. You get a laugh, talk about the news of the day, and then they'd kind of joke it up. They'd have a little fun, and then you'd go to bed. You'd turn in. That's not how it works anymore. None of us are doing that. It's a completely different day and age. The model's different, and so they have to make different changes. When it comes to 60 Minutes, I don't know how real this is, but gosh, it's really interesting. CBS looking to get Joe Rogan for CBS 60 Minutes. Now, when they say Joe Rogan, what I imagine is, and I don't know the full extent of this, but what I think is what they probably mean is kind of like how Anderson Cooper was doing, these reports here and there for 60 Minutes. That's probably what they'll have Joe do. They'll probably have him go out and do certain reports on things that he likes, that he's interested in, etc. That's what I think you'll see. And by the way, will that bring people into 60 Minutes? A whole different generation, a whole new audience? Absolutely. Absolutely. Could be a massive win for those folks. All right. Marco Rubio yesterday. I'm only going to be able to play some of this because there's just so much. But man, there's nobody who handles this better than he does. He's on Capitol Hill in front of Senators. Cory Booker this time, and man, is he giving it right back to these guys. He handles this so well.
For the nuclear program, in exchange for getting rid of the fissile material out of country, I imagine, is what the highly enriched uranium, we would release sanctions. Is that correct?
Well, it's not just that. It's also their enrichment activity. They would have to, they would have to make very severe and significant concessions on what they intend to enrich in the future.
And already with the March relaxing of sanctions, allowing Iranians to sell oil to the Chinese, estimates have been between $10 and $50 billion they got from that relaxing of sanctions. How much money might we see in a deal in our relaxings of sanctions in order to get rid of the highly enriched uranium and stop their enrichment?
Well, let me just tell you on that portion. The sanctions that were released on Iran were boats on the water. And so that oil was already out in the marketplace. It was sold at market rates, but the sanctions covered, and to the extent we've been able to enforce them, we have the revenues of those sales. So yeah, the Iranian oil was unsanctioned so that it could be sold, but the revenue would have to flow back to blocked accounts, which our sanctions were able to go after. We've also seized, I believe, 6 vessels in the Indo-Pacific that involved Iranian sanctioned oil on top of it. So that wasn't necessarily a trade. They didn't get $50 billion directly as a result of, they might have gotten some of it, they certainly didn't get the majority of it. They are now losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day in revenue because of the blockade. And the blockade exists because of what they're doing in the Straits.
Right, and I guess the conclusion I have, and my time's expired, is that the Strait of Hormuz was open before this unjustified war. We're now scrambling to try to find a way to get it back opened again.
These people.
Not only is it causing economic havoc to our country and to residents all around this nation, families.
This guy acts like there wasn't a nuclear weapon being produced. Like he acts like Witkoff didn't come back, and the Iranians didn't tell Witkoff, hey, we're 60% ready to go on this nuke. We're ready. And by the way, if they didn't have it now, didn't use it now, you know what they could use that to do? Dirty bombs. And the same way they're attacking their neighbors right now, they could be wreaking havoc on the region with these dirty bombs. What Iran wanted to do, and look, whether you like the way this played out or not, you just have to understand, what they wanted to do is be able to control the world through the oil traffic, the Strait of Hormuz, and use that as a bargaining chip to get their nuclear weapon. Once they had the nuclear weapon, they could do whatever it is that they wanted to do. No one would be able to hold them to account. And that's what President Trump stood up against. Realize, this is the world we live in. So this whole thing about the Strait of Hormuz and all this other thing, I mean, the Booker's completely disingenuous here, or disingenuous. He doesn't mean any of this, or he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Trying to make ends meet. But you see on top of that, the Iranians finding ways to leverage that, as we allowed them to do with the Chinese for tens of billions of dollars. And so my point is, before we even get to a nuclear negotiation, this regime is getting money to rebuild, purchase more drones, cause more havoc. And this is before we're even trying to get back to
But I don't know.
What he's missing is there is no negotiation. Trump said you're not going to have nukes. There's no way around that. They can't just magically get them. It's done.
I don't understand how they're getting this. What revenue are you referring to?
Well, there's 2 sources of revenue we're seeing. One is the revenue from the Chinese, that's factually documented. And number 2, the revenue that you're proposing that they should receive by releasing all of their highly enriched uranium, as well as in making a commitment about their enrichment capacities.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on. And that was the exact deal that you guys vilified, that the president and you vilified President Obama from having.
Yeah. No,
So here we have a worse situation where
Those are not the same
our
deals.
adversary and our enemy, who's causing havoc in the region, who is funding proxies and terrorists, has discovered, thanks to you all, the power of shutting down the Strait of Hormuz.
No, they didn't discover. They knew that a long time ago, and they've done it before.
Clearly, we all knew that a long time ago. That's why this
And they intended to do this at
ill-conceived
some point
war
in the
should have
future
never
as well.
happened.
Yeah, but
you have made our adversary in a stronger negotiating position. We are the strongest nation on the planet Earth, and we're in a stalemate with Iran. And now we're begging to get back into a deal that you all
We're not
trashed in
begging.
the first place.
There's no one begging. I don't know.
Clearly, this is a
Senator
shame.
Senator Booker, your time's up.
But can
Senator
I just-
Rubio, since he's
I do
gone
want to
over, you
address
can
some of these points
respond.
because they go to the heart of the matter. No one's begging for anything here.
No.
The Iranians might be begging because their economy's losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day. That they are losing. Understand, Iran had street protests going on before all of this started. All of those factors, economic factors in Iran, are far worse today than they were 6 months ago when those protests were
Right.
happening. They have hyperinflation. Their currency's completely devalued. They're struggling to make payroll for their government workers. Iran is in a very serious situation. And if it was up to the political class there, and I understand everybody there is sort of radical in some way, but if it was up to the people that actually like go to elections and wear the suits and you see on TV, they'd probably make a deal tomorrow. It's the issue they're facing is that the supreme leader and the IRGC Corps are a little bit more immune from those pressures until they can be convinced otherwise. And I think that's the direction that they're moving in, because the reality, I don't know where you're getting this perception that Iran is stronger. Iran has no navy left. They've lost a substantial percentage of their defense industrial base. That Iran has lost a substantial percentage of their missile launchers, and their economy is far worse today, and I mean far worse today than it was 6 to 9 months
Right,
ago.
tell 'em.
And they are looking at hundreds of billions of dollars of reconstruction costs just to get to where they were 6
Mr.
months
Rubio,
ago.
you keep telling us how we're winning this war. The president keeps saying,
Well, the war's over
completely
now.
annihilated. The war
It's
is
true,
not over.
isn't it?
And yet the American people see how we're losing.
Look at this guy. This guy right here on the left. This is all of us. All of us watching Booker try and get to this. This is all of us. We're like, really?
The pump and with their costs, and yet this thing still hasn't been resolved. Every day he tweets out, oh, we've obliterated them, we've annihilated them, they're going to surrender, but yet we still find ourselves spending billions of dollars a week
Senator
on
Booker,
a war abroad.
Rubio, again, this is somebody that it's going to be interesting to watch. He's handled himself very well. He's handled the press very well. Any of these hearings, he's handled very well. He's got a solid grasp on it all, and interesting to watch. Like I said, coming up in the next couple of years, where that all goes. Speaking of interesting to watch, we got lots to talk about our Maha update. Let's get to. It's another day and another Maha update. Our good friend Maha Missy with us, and some stories that you're going to want to hear, whether it's Maha and Trump watching what you wear, watching what you eat. We've heard RFK Jr. talk about some of that stuff, but watching what you wear, how music can help heal in ways that most have never even begun to imagine, and so much more coming up today. Thank you, Missy, for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
Thanks for having me. Beautiful sunny day here in Michigan. Love it.
Soaking up the sunshine. That's probably the best thing we can do. One of the things that I will mention, and this latest story is one that I think is of a concern for a lot of people, and there's a number of reasons why I think this is happening. Maybe you can tell us what you think you see happening as well. But, I've noticed that since, matter of fact, I'm down. I should probably say down 40 pounds. My wife is down 40 pounds. I have more energy than ever before, and over 40. But to be honest with you, the scale is one thing, but all these other changes that so many people talk about when they talk about how their lives have been transformed, and you see, the before and after pictures are great. We deal with this. Missy, by the way, and the crew at My Pure Health Solutions can walk you through all that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But one thing that we hear, along with the getting off the medications, getting off the sleep app machine, and all this other stuff, is you hear people talking about, my goodness, I have so much more energy and I sleep so well at night. Isn't that something? So
Yeah. Well, your metabolism, here's the thing. Most people don't know that their metabolism, if you're struggling to lose weight, that means your metabolism has been turned off by systems on the inside that have kind of just stopped functioning the right way. And when those systems stop functioning the right way, your health is going to suffer. I mean, blood pressure, that's going to be a given because your body's struggling. The systems on the inside are struggling. So when you repair the metabolism and you turn that metabolism back on, it's no different than giving that car outside in your driveway that maybe hasn't had a tune-up in 25 years. You give it a tune-up and that old Bessie's just chugging right down the highway like she used to, no spitting and sputtering anymore. Just like you put the gas down and it goes. That's what happens on the inside of your body when we take care of it naturally. Your body responds and it heals from the inside out. And that's just a natural consequence. You feel better. Your energy's up and you look great. You look good.
Well, reason I bring that up is one of the stories we have from the day. Is from, in fact, I think it's the Telegraph that has this, but lack of sleep is fueling a cancer surge in people under 50. And this is a whole nother thing that I don't think people really take into consideration, is how important that sleep is. And so when you're getting better sleep, because of these changes that are going on in your body, you're literally being changed from the inside out. It's an inside job. They're talking about this quite a bit, but this is a whole nother piece of this. What are they finding when they're saying people that don't get good sleep have another cat? Is it because our body doesn't go through that process of cleansing? There's a whole thing that happens when you go to sleep that your body just cleanses itself out.
Absolutely. Well, think about this. Think about when you're driving down the road at nighttime and you see the nighttime crew that's outside, and and they got the lights up and they're doing all this repair work because it's easier to do the repair work while there's hardly anyone on the road, right? That's kind of smart. The body does the same thing. This is so cool. What happens when we go to sleep? We have a repair crew that goes in and they start to perform their job, because their job is to heal and repair the DNA while you sleep, so that way there aren't any problems later on in life, because your DNA is we got to keep that up. So as we sleep at nighttime, we don't realize there's a repair crew going on the inside, and it's boosting as the cleaners, the maintenance crew is going through your body, taking care of all the bad things that have happened throughout that day, repairing the DNA, which is going to allow your immune system to stay high, which is a key thing, because if your immune system goes low, opportunists come out. And so anyway, so your immune system is super important, but then at the other time, we don't really think about our body has a rhythm, and it's called the circadian rhythm. And it's just kind of like, think of a grandfather clock. The cogs in the wheel are all doing the right thing in order for the hand to go around, the hour hand to go around. The body's the same way. And so when we get out of rhythm, the circadian rhythm gets out of joint, this is going to have a severe impact on your hormones. So your hormones go out of whack a little bit. Your melatonin isn't firing off the way it should be. Insulin, cortisol, growth hormones. There's a lot going on as we sleep at night. We just don't think of it like that, but it's an amazing process. And think about, if you look at, I'm guilty of this myself. If you go back, 20 years ago, I probably was falling asleep reading a book. Now we've got Netflix on and I'm scrolling through my phone, getting a little bit irritated by the news because of the Corey Brooks kind of people are out there on Twitter. And it's just frustrating. And that elevates your cortisol, which is the last thing that your body needs after enduring a very hard day being awake.
It really is interesting to see this. And again, more and more people are waking up to some of the issues that they're seeing and with the problems that they can cause. And everything's connected. The hormones.
Everything's connected. We've never been taught
information. Yeah. I'm again, when you getting healthy from the inside out, right? You're making changes that are much bigger than just watching the scale move. This is something that is going to impact you for years.
It's an inside story. We've never thought about our bodies having the ability to heal and repair. We just have to. And I talked to a lot of people. Most people, the medical model, the nurses and the medical model, they didn't ever have the opportunity to learn the information that I talk about. And it wasn't their fault they didn't learn it, because somebody chose what they were going to learn and what they were never going to learn, which is unfortunate. Again, it's a lot of fake news. The diet industry is fake news, because that diet industry, they don't have to change their message. Their marketing is brilliant. They make $90 billion a year on the most obese nation in the world, and we can still are the most obese nation in the world. And it's because the diet industry is never fixing the problem on the inside. It's an inside story that needs to have attention. And so everyone needs a customized approach, and that's what we do. And I've got a awesome Happy Birthday America, 250 years of America's birth. We're celebrating with 25% off your protocols, customized protocols to turn that metabolism back on and get you off medication. Get you
25% off. Healthwithjustin.com, 269-964-4044. If you want to reach out, healthwithjustin.com, the best way to do. By the way, Annette says she's going to be reaching back out. She reached out last week, so make sure we follow. You can follow up with her, because there's so many people that are so excited about trying to, finally wanting to make the change. And of course, yes, you're going to feel better because you're going to 2-3 pant sizes down. You're going to look good in your clothes and all that. Those are all great things. Maybe you got some weddings you got to go to this summer. I don't know what it is, but look, I understand probably more than anybody else because I've gone through it and I've seen it now, and I've got friends that have gone through it and seen it. The changes that happen in your body are pretty incredible. In fact, when you're doing it the right way, more than ever. Speaking of which, there's a new story out here about the shot.
Oh, yeah.
Changing people's brains. And I don't know. To me, that makes it even more scary. You know, how scary was it as we went through the last several years and back in the pandemic ages, right, when we were talking about jabs and pokes and brain changing, and look, I mean, all of that stuff we were so concerned about, but people are running out to grab one of these, and to me, it's just so it's horrifying.
Sure, they're putting a synthetic, man-made substance that was never designed to enter the body, and because they got good packaging, they got good support behind the system with the pharmaceutical models, and again, the industry. I mean, in order to push a product like that, you have to have deep pockets to promote it and advertising. I mean, I know I've been a business owner for 29, 30 years, and it costs money to advertise. Well, they've got billions and billions of dollars to advertise to get it out there, to make people feel like that shot is normal. That shot is not normal. That shot is going in, that the injection, the substance that's going inside this body. We talk about this. I mean, oh my gosh, I think every week there's a new, like what the heck is it doing on the inside of the body? With the brain, it's attacking because the brain, you have, when people eat, your dopamine, when we eat, we're rewarded. I mean, the dopamine levels are flying, especially when I ask for more chips and salsa. I'm like, yes, you just eat dopamine, the reward center. Well, because that reward center, they're not being rewarded with food anymore because they don't have any hunger. So since they don't have any hunger, they're becoming like apathetic. So they're just like, food. Well, guess what? It's like, husband, kids, the job. It's impacting everything. Well, it's impacting a lot more things.
Here's the part that got me. Okay, so I want to just read this to you, because this is the thing that says it's most, because like I think the Washington Post and some of these people are pushing this story like, oh, look at this amazing story. Look what this thing is doing.
Yeah.
Well, take a listen. They say Ozempic was supposed to be a gut story. Then Alison Shapiro looked at the brain scans. The assistant professor at University of Colorado, she was part of a team studying 13 teens and young women with a hormonal disorder affecting the ovaries who were put on GLP-1 drugs as part of the testing to catalog the effect of the medication on their bodies. Again, these are guinea pigs. People don't realize it, but you're a guinea pig in this situation. She was astonished to find the extensive changes. With only a few months, the brain connections in the salience network, which helps target attention, had multiplied. Here's the part that I think should horrify everybody, okay? We didn't expect to see this effect, and we really don't know what it means.
No.
How many people are out there running around? And again, this is one of those side effects, right? This is one of those things. Now, look, folks, I want people to get help. I want you to get results. I want you to be healthy. I don't think anybody of us really could argue with that. But when you're in this uncharted territory, it's kind of like the data center thing, as I mentioned. Like, we know that data centers are important. We know that this AI race is important. Trump has made that point. But we really ought to exercise extreme wisdom and discernment as we move forward in these fields to make sure that we're doing the right things.
Sure.
That's the same situation here. Let's make sure that we've got all the facts before we act.
I agree, because I saw a guy the other day that I've known for a long time, and known him pretty well, and I ran into him, and he just didn't look the same. I mean, he just looked off. something was off. His eyes were off. Everything was off. And I learned a few hours later that evening, I was like concerned about him. I called my business partner. I'm like, what's going on with him? She said the doctor put him on Ozempic for his type 2. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like going, because he looked like a zombie. He just looked flat. And this man is normally a bubbly personality kind of person. He's just flat. And what we're seeing taking place inside his body, because he did come in to see us, and it's not good. I mean, because we have advanced wellness technology that allows us to scan the human body and look at the 2,800 systems that are controlling the metabolism. Your pancreas is on there. Your dopamine is there. Neurologically, your neurotransmitters all play a massive role in whether or not your metabolism is working or not. So when I tell people it's not your fault you can't lose weight, it's also not your fault that you probably are having these massive mood swings going back and forth. You feel like you're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and you don't know why. It's because of all the chemical noise on the inside of the body that is just firing off your God-given body, because there's so much junk inside of it it's just confusing the body. And I'm sorry for these people that are on these shots. I don't know. I mean, what kind of conversation we're going to be having in another year or 5? Where are they? Are they alive? Because right now, I don't know about everybody around me. I mean, I think I cry every day now, because every day I'm finding somebody else I love is dead. They're dead.
We're hearing quite a bit of this died suddenly, and the rising cancers, the issues with memory, and also like people are talking about personalities, as you mentioned, personalities changing.
Sure,
this is wild, and I want to take you back, because this just shows you. Theo Vaughn had Dr. Peter McCullough on the other day on his program.
Yep.
And they walked through something which is, we talked about this as it was happening. I remember talking with the health department director in Kent County as this was all going down, talking about people smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew early on, that this was a thing, because it wasn't impacting people that were smoking in places like China.
Right.
China. And I thought, wow, what is it? This is who you would think that a respiratory issue would affect, and it did not.
Was there anybody who was immune to like any genetics or demographics or cultures that were immune to COVID-19?
There's one adult group, you're going to laugh, but there's one adult group, but no specific ethnicity or culture, but you're going to laugh. Smokers.
Mm-hmm.
Smokers couldn't get it?
They got it very mild cases.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get long COVID. You know why?
Why?
Because smokers maintain a level of nicotine in the bloodstream. They actually smoke frequently enough. Blood nicotine blocks the spike protein as it's interfacing with the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor.
What is wild about this? And they go on to talk about treatments, and even if people are dealing with long COVID now, one of the things that McCullough talks about is these nicotine patches. And I've heard biohackers and other people talk about specifically in a pure form of which that's been helpful for people for years. By the way, Jessica in the chat, and I'm not suggesting that you start smoking or pick up a pack a day habit anytime soon or anything, but Jessica said, I smoke and I never got COVID. Isn't that something?
Right.
It just goes to show, though, that there are so many things that are.
Yeah.
Maybe
I chew nicotine gum. I mean, I don't smoke. I mean, I've chewed it. And my brother kind of ADHD. It's amazing for people with ADHD.
Really?
Yeah, it does. Wow. And this patch thing, I tell you what, I've gotten so many rotten tomatoes thrown at me throughout the last several years because I've been talking about this nicotine thing. To break it down, I love Dr. Peter McCullough, but to break it down is that the COVID vaccine, when it goes in your body, there's these, let's say, viral fragments. So it produces this thing. It goes inside the body, and what this fragment is doing is occupying a parking spot in your body, lots of parking spots in your body that are needed for your autonomic system. Your body to like blink your eyes. You don't think about blinking your eyes. You don't think about your heart beating. You don't think about swallowing. So the COVID remnants are taking up important parking places in the body. Nicotine likes the same parking space, and nicotine has a bigger, louder voice, so to speak, and it bumps the spike protein out of the parking spot, and then it comes in and takes its place, and the body absorbs it, and the body likes it. It's a natural thing for your body. So because I was trying to figure out, like, how can I explain what it's doing, because a lot of these doctors use like big words and it doesn't make any sense. Just think injection is bad boys are all taking up all the important, prime time real estate parking spots in your body. Nicotine patch, you put it on, it's going to give a slow nicotine, absorbs through your body. So it's a continuous mechanism. Having smokers, people that do chew nicotine gum like myself, that's not a constant thing. But with the patch, it's going in and it's literally bumping out all the spike proteins, getting rid of them, and then your immune system's going to sweep them right out the door. So that's what I want to do. I mean, not start smoking, but I'm just saying, and because I did, I not start smoking. No, but I did. I had, matter of fact, my Charity, my business partner, her husband was sick. I mean, he had COVID. I want to say he was just like sick for like about 30 days straight. Charity caught it, and then it bumped out of it in like less than like 5 days. Well, Andy's thought that's kind of weird, and like, what are we doing different than the other company? She might chew gum too, but anyways, she might. But anyway, so Andy's like, I'm gonna go try that nicotine patch. No joke. He put the patch on. 24 hours later, it was gone.
Interesting.
For 30 days.
The stories they don't want you to hear, not just watching what you eat and that nicotine gum, but maybe watching what you wear too. This is, I think you sent this to me, cotton over chemicals, how Trump's USDA is making America's fabric great again. Now, I got to tell you, I have personally been looking at not just cotton, but linen is another thing. And for another reason, which we'll kind of tie into and maybe get into our next story, but getting away from the synthetic stuff. And I'm not completely down the rabbit hole just yet. Maybe Missy, maybe you can help us, like nudge me further down a little bit, because so much stuff we wear, like this is obviously it's like nylon or whatever. I don't know what they make it, but I mean, we've heard stories about men who wear underwear that's not, that it's synthetic, and that causes issues with production of being able to reproduce and reproduction. So people switching to cotton and organic
bamboo,
getting rid and away from the chemicals and whatnot. What's happening with the Trump administration with this story? Seems like another big one.
Oh, I love this. So basically Trump he's promoting plant, not plastic, because cotton is, shocker, natural. Our polyester, our nylon, and our acrylic clothing, they look great and all that good stuff. But listen, they're spun plastics that come from petroleum.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when you're wearing them, they're and you're sweating and there's friction, your pores are opening up, and these microplastics are going into the bloodstream, and they're like called forever plastics. And so they're going through that bloodstream, and when they're doing that, that is definitely messing up your hormones. Your hormone endocrine system was never designed to even know what a spun plastic was. It's no different than your car. I always go back to the car, the mentality. If you've got a car that doesn't run on diesel and you put diesel fuel in that gas tank of yours, you've got an $8,000 bill on your hand, because the car wasn't designed to have the diesel fuel in it. This body of ours was never designed to have half of the junk that is going into this body, and we wonder why we're so sick. We wonder why we're so inflamed. We wonder why we're having mood swings. We're wondering why we're insulin resistant. It's because on the inside of the body's under attack by all this stuff. And so even thinking with what do you call it? Stain resistant clothes and
Sure.
wrinkle resistant clothes. Those have been sprayed down with PFAS, which is again the forever chemical. And again, it's just liver, metabolism, hormones. I mean, and you're wondering, you're like, I haven't changed my eating. What am I doing differently? Well, maybe it's been a bio accumulation of finally your body hit a tipping point, because I don't know, I wore that kind of stuff too. And I try to, again, it says don't go burn your closet down, but be aware the next time you go to purchase something, purchase cotton or linen, because they're organic. And if we want to get into frequencies, they're vibing at a very high frequency, because our body, Nikola Tesla, I'm going to get hot and sweaty over here because I'm just like, I don't want to say this because people are like, what frequencies? Our body is run on energy. Our body's amazing. And that's not a new age kind of term. The body is electrical, and and when you put static noise inside this system of ours, boy, oh boy, we're going to have a lot of trouble. But the good thing is that the body's so resilient and it knows how to heal and repair. You just have to know how to communicate and work with it. That's it.
I got to bring us to, speaking of frequency, this
There
next
you
one.
are. Yeah.
Why your coworker might be listening to music tuned to 432 hertz.
Yeah.
I've seen some of this.
Yes.
What's the story? I know frequency is a big story for you, but what's the scoop on this?
Okay, so if you go over to YouTube, you go to YouTube. I sleep with this every night on my Pandora. But if you type in 432 hertz frequency, you're gonna hear what sounds like spa kind of music. You know,
Okay.
and it's just a calming, tranquil, like, noise, rhythms. It's just music. And so when people are tuning in and listening to 432 hertz frequency, or again, there's so many stations on Pandora and over on, there you go. What it's going to do it's healing and repairing of the DNA. So again, our body's electrical. So the 432 hertz frequency, our body vibrates with, it loves the sound of it. And what studies are showing, they've been showing this for a long time, is
Now let me turn it down. It's kind of like get the rain going here.
yeah, that one's more rain related, but you can add, so if you're a person that, I wouldn't go to a different one.
You don't like the rain, huh?
Yeah, no. Well, I do.
Let's
Go
try
to
this music.
There you go.
Oh, listen to that. There you go.
Oh yeah. So what happens? The heart down and the cortisol lowers and your blood pressure and everything just gets better. So I tell people, they're like, well, what
Are people listening to this at work though? Because that would like knock me out. Are you kidding me?
That wouldn't, no, I would check your coworker. I'm like, that's what I go to sleep with. I listen to 432 or I listen to 528. 528 hertz frequency is another one of my favorites. But again, sometimes there's a lot of people out there that have these listen to it for 5 hours straight.
How do I know this is real? Because I'm missing. Somebody. I guess it'd be the one playing the role here. But how do I know? How do I know this is just not somebody put this? But look at this. Frequency heals all body damage. Feel God's healing hand. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's healing because our body our cells resonate. Our cells are tuned into our cells. We're just frequencies. And so
take us down the rabbit hole, because now Jessica's getting there and I was kind of thinking about this anyway. What about the church bells?
That's exactly right. So the church bells, and if you go to Google this stuff, they don't confirm it at all, but this has been around for a long time. In the early 1900s, all around the world, all it seems at the same time, everybody started removing all the big bells these bells were tuned to a specific hertz frequency. So when it rang, and I always think of Pa Ingalls, I always go to Pa Ingalls days. So when Pa Ingalls was like miles away out there on the farm, and he couldn't hear the tune or the noise of the bell, but his body was receiving the frequency is healing and repairing, so of the DNA. And so and again, the smart people back in the day, look at the cathedrals, and we see what happens when you go in. The organs all are in a specific tune. And when certain tunes connect with other tunes, the body it really resonates. And that's we also know there's colors, like the stained glass. I mean, everything everything's been right in front of us, but we've never seen it. We've never seen the way that I think God wanted us to see it, because somebody along the lines screwed up our history books and removed everything. So when they removed the bells, they said we're removing the bells because everyone's going to war, and we need to have, we need to liquefy the bells because we need to make weapons of warfare. Now, they need to remove the bells because of what it was doing when the resonant would go out along the airwaves, and it was healing. Just like, this is a whole nother rabbit hole. When they changed, I'm not really good at knowing what they did, but somebody might in the comments, when they changed music, they distorted even music. So that way, a distortion music, think about like heavy metal and hard rock. I've been there, done that, love it. It's fun, but now when I'm around it, I just like, it's strife. It feels like strife to me. Maybe because I'm in my, almost 60. So I'm like, just give me peace and tranquility. But yeah, music's always affected our bodies, and we just have never thought about it like that.
It's so strange. I want to dig into it a little bit further so that I can understand it. I've seen this stuff on the surface.
Yeah.
It kind of floats by, and I'm like, all right, Missy, what exactly is this? We're going to have to go through and do a little digging, I think. But you've started us down sort of a beautiful rabbit hole on all of this. It really is cool. That's what this Maha movement thing is all about. People trying to get healthier. They're taking these things more seriously, and obviously taking our health back, taking the country. These are all things that we've got to do. And of course, it all starts with you, right? It not just in your own backyard, but right in your own home and your body. And boy, oh boy, people are feeling it. And I tell you, now there couldn't be a better time for the anniversary, 250th anniversary of the birthday of this nation. You get 25% off of the protocols in the program at healthwithjustin.com that Missy and the Maha crew have put together for you there at My Pure Health Solutions. A free consultation, get the body scan. They mail everything out to you. You don't have to do anything like in person. It's all one-on-one, virtually, basically. You can do it anywhere in the world. Yeah. If you want to call them today or go online to healthwithjustin.com, 269-964-4044. Again, 25% off for Justin listeners, and do it today, because if you got a wedding coming up that you class reunion, or maybe you just want to feel good when you're at the beach or the pool this summer, reach out today, and you won't believe how good you can feel. And folks are seeing it. They're seeing all the great results, getting off the medications that we've heard quite a bit about.
Health freedom.
Yeah.
If you're on medication, you're part of the system. I want to get you off. I want your body healed, repaired, so you can live a long, healthy life and enjoy those grandkids and family, and like we were supposed to.
I think people here like lose 20 to 28 pounds in 40 days for women, 35 to 50 for men, 2 to 3 pounds. I think they hear that, and it's like, it's a number. It's cool and everything.
Sure.
But I don't think you can put a number on how good you feel, and what a difference things can make for you. But I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart, Missy, because it's not just me, but Mike and so many others that have listened to this program. Mike was just a recent one the other day that came out and said him and his wife have had the same experience Lizzie and I have. And man, it just, the work doesn't go unrecognized. We absolutely, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all of it.
Thank you for having me. At platforms like this is like how we spread the word.
Absolutely. Well, we continue.
Yes.
To do that moving forward, folks, healthwithjustin.com. Thank you, and God bless. Back with more, another Maha moment next week.